Hi, thank you for watching this short video. I'm Michael Barnacle, and this is a brief conversation with my clients, Jeff and Noelle Sylvia. I hope that whether you're a buyer or a seller of real estate, that you'll learn something from this video about how we might work well together. Thanks for thinking about choosing me as your realtor. Let's watch together. Hi, I'm Michael Barnacle from Keller Williams Realty, and I'm sitting with Noelle and Jeff Sylvia, whose home we just sold. The Sylvias were kind enough to meet with me tonight and talk with me about their efforts to sell their home on their own and why they later decided to enlist my support. My understanding that you had the house on the market for roughly a year, almost a year, and then you agreed to list with me, and we put it on the market for the price that you had most recently been asking, which was $599.
Correct.
You listed it on a Thursday. We had an open house that following Sunday, and then by Tuesday we had an acceptable contract, then closed on the property about a month later. So I had a few questions I just wanted to talk to you about, which are aspects of the process and for selling your home. So I think the first one is, if you could just tell me or tell us, what challenges did you face in selling the home on your own?
Well, I would say the biggest challenge is not being a realtor ourselves. You don't have the outreach. So we were able to list it on MLS. So we did have that at our disposal. However, when you sold the house, you know people. Another thing is you don't have access to any feedback. So when people are coming into the house and then leaving, you have no idea what they think of it, if there was something that was a major issue. And, we weren't offering the full 2.5% right out of the gates, which the second time we listed it, we did, because we realized that was a huge mistake.
Not offering the full percentage, I think definitely shut down some real estate agents. They figured, why bring their customers in if they're not going to be rewarded their full commission. On top of that, they also, I think they felt like they would have to work harder with a for sale by owner, because they would have to do more of the work, because we just didn't understand the process quite as well. Also, we listed the house way overpriced. It was tough for us to get I think a fair market price gauge. So when we listed it too high, we had a lot of activity at the beginning, but then we never heard anything back, which goes along with Noelle's, the feedback. We never heard from an agent back who said, you're overpriced. They just didn't bring their customer back at all. I think the market at the time had a little to do with it. Last year was a little slower. This year is a little better, with the interest rates being down a little bit more.
When you first listed it around a year earlier, you started off at about $639.
Correct.
Is that right? And so the final price that you were offering at was $599.
Yeah.
I think another thing that I had the impression is that when you're selling on your own, the buyer doesn't trust you as much. And there are so many issues in an old house that come up.
Now, another question, did you show it very often? And when you had showings, how did you accommodate people?
We had 4 or 5 open houses.
And we made our own marketing material. We tried to copy what we've seen that was out there. So we had a brochure with an MLS listing fact sheet with pictures. So we, as customers came in, or potential buyers, we did give them that information. I think what we learned when we did the open houses ourselves, we were I was anyways, constantly trying to sell the house. So I think I might have been hovering too closely with a lot of the customers. I think that might have turned some people off in that respect.
You didn't get much feedback?
Didn't get much
Nothing.
feedback.
And when you say trouble, was it what the...
Trouble with our busy schedule, with having
see.
2 small kids, of accommodating showings. We both work full time, so showings during the day was very tough. We'd have to try to schedule something at lunch or after work. We'd have to rush home, and weekends.
Yeah.
So it was...
Why didn't you call a realtor in the first place?
Because it was quite a, big fixer-upper. So when we decided to sell, we, looked at what the market was doing, and we realized we were going to lose money. So we were trying to make as much money as we could, and we figured we could save some money by selling it ourselves. When we first put it on the market a year ago, we weren't in as much of a rush, so we were willing to take a little bit more time. after a year, it just starts to wear you down.
Why did you decide to use me over other realtors?
There were a couple of big factors there. One of them was that you were always there to offer us advice with no strings attached. You know, we never said, hey, if you give us this, we'll use you. You just were always willing to offer advice if we needed it. When you're looking for someone to sell your house, you want someone who is persistent, for lack of a better word.
Right.
I think as well, just in the conversations we had with you, you were kind of our type of person. When you're taking on something like selling a house, it's just a huge undertaking and there's a lot of money involved.
But along with us trying to sell the house, you actually brought a client through a potential buyer. You thought enough of the house that you would actually even bring a buyer in.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
so now you like the house. So if you were to sell it, you know, you saw an appealing side to the house.
Right.
Every time we had an open house, you kind of called up afterwards. Hey, how'd it go? How'd the showings go? So it was just, you built the rapport with us. You know, you got the marketing out there, and you told us there was 40 groups that came through. We almost fell off our seats because we didn't have 40 groups in a year of open houses.
And I think you were always willing to help us when we needed it or to offer suggestions. You were always following up with us, and I think that persistence is what helped us make the decision fairly easily. When you're selling your house and there's a lot
Right.
of money involved, you want it to be with a person that you like.
Well, I thank you for getting together like this. It was very nice of you, and I want to let you get back to your evening with your kids.